Well, hello, hello. I hope everyone is doing well. Happy New Year. Just getting everything set up. Hopefully this will work. Let's see. And it's not. Give me 1 second. As you can see, we are going to not have our technology work because that's what happens. Because that's how we're going to start out the new year. Hang on. Let's see. There we go. See if that works. No. Oh my. Okay. I'm saying hello. I just can't see you yet. We're going to get there. All right. Let's see. Well, now I need to see your comments. Let's see. Let's do that. Oh my. Okay, we may not be able. Oh my goodness. You know, every other time it works. Just hang in there for 1 second. We're going to reboot. So until I can see you all, hello. Hello. We are going to do a couple of things. I'm going to start out, I'm going to make some watercolor backgrounds just because I wanted to play with my watercolors. I'm going to use my QOR watercolors. And hopefully what I have set up next to me isn't going to fall. Get some paper towel out because we'll need that. All right, let's see here. Aha. I think, hello, Vicky. Hello, Gwen. Hello, Cordelia. Say I see ya. Betty, hello. Okay. I think we are all set. That's all right, Cordelia, so am I. All right. So, like I said, we're going to start out with some um, watercolor panels. Very simple, because I always like to have watercolor panels on hand. I'm going to use my QOR watercolors. Ouch. And then we're going to tangle. I feel like today is a tangling day, so we're going to make it a tangling day. I have other watercolor panels. Going to tangle on some watercolor panels that I already have. Let me move this like this. Yeah, that works. And then, let me get my jacket off here, or my sweatshirt. There we go. A little warm. Warm. I know that sounds funny because it's very cold here. Very, very cold. Let me get my water bottle. We're just going to do these four. Going to spray down. Please tell me this is my water bottle. Yes. You've all heard about the debacle of the alcohol spray. Oh my goodness. And we're just going to have fun today. All right. So let's get started. So how is everyone's new year going? I haven't figured out what my word is for the year. I'm leaning towards intentional. I don't know. I do not know. But as always, I'm just going to slap the colors on, see what we get. Just let them do what they do, because that's the beauty of watercolors. But yeah, I am leaning towards intentional. Does anybody else have a word for the year that they're thinking about? I want to water that down. I do want these to dry back just a little bit. The paper that I'm using is actually a paper that I very much enjoy. It's by Packin. I happen to just come across it on Amazon, and it is just great to tangle on. And it's at an awesome price. Very awesome. All right. And if one of these dries in time, we will tangle on it. It's actually something that's called mapping. That's too bleh. But I do really like this paper. Um, it will buckle, as you can see. She's just going to town. But that's a bright yellow. Oh my goodness. That's a bright orange. I may not like this style. Ah, way too bright. Let's see if we can tone her down a bit. All right, we're going to see what these look like, and we're just going to let them dry off to the side. Um, I think I am going to, uh, Gwen, do some, uh, meh, Cordelia? Okay. You know, really? I think I am going to use one of, um, possibly one of the prompts. So right now in the tier 2 of our community, I am currently every day there's a new challenge that's out, and it just focuses on fragments. Now, fragments are, I'm just tilting this to get the watercolors to move, mesh, and do whatever it is they want to do. Um, and hopefully that won't fall. Let me get my chair because I have to sit when I tangle. Um, okay, I'm okay. Nothing fell. I'm just throwing something across the room. So that is coming out every day, and fragments are just that. It's a fragments that are derivatives of a tangle, basically. Let me zoom you in just a little bit more. Okay. So they're a section of the tangle itself. Hey, Diane, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good year. So they're a section, or they came from the full tangle, and then they are housed or held in what we call reticulas. And I go into more depth in the introduction um, that I have, the introduction class that I have available in my Podia as well, if you're interested in that. But they can do so many different things. And while I show the one fragment, whether it's in an orb or a square or a triangle, dare I say, um, the they can create a pattern when it comes to a design or, a tangle that you're looking at or looking for. So that is the challenge for this month, and those are probably the two challenges that I'll do. Where the Inktober will come from the first tier and go through, and then the fragments will sit in tier 2. And then just remember, if you're in tier 3, you get everything in there and then everything below. For January, so let's take care of some business. So for January, we're going to, in the first tier, we're going to focus on embossing folders. So I show you a few different techniques that you can do with embossing folders. I love the fact that basically they're making a comeback. Embossing folders are a great way to give you texture and a pattern in the back if you don't want to stamp. Very cost effective, but there's still things that you can do with your inks for them and everything else. And then in tier 3, I tried for the first time a 12 by 12 full sheet wonder. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. They are amazing, but I'm having fun with it. And it's a really funny video. Yeah. I filmed it really late, so I must have been really punchy. Just had a good time with it. But one of the things that I'm going to start out with is Zentangle every year, Zentangle Corporation, Inc., they come out with a Tangle of the Year. And it's not necessarily a new Tangle. This one is not that they chose, and it kind of made me giggle when they announced it. And just because there's someone who's graciously, hello Jennifer, how are you doing? 7 minutes, oh that's right, Diane, you're in Australia, yes, yes. Well, thank you for being up. They chose Tripoli, and there's just somebody that follows me who does not like triangles too much. But Tripoli is fun. It's a very interesting tangle. And I think I'm going to zoom you in just a little bit more. There we go. And hopefully I'll keep an eye just to make sure I don't come off of that. So Tripoli, and then when it came out for the challenge, I thought that was kind of awesome. Tripoli is nothing more than an array of triangles. And I need my other glasses. Yes, I don't wear progressives because, nope, I cannot stand the headache. All right, so I have lots of different values. So Tripoli starts out with your triangle. And I'm using my 01 micron. You can use anything you have. Copy paper, ballpoint pen. For blending, you can use Q-tips, makeup sponges, the small ones, the eye applicators, anything you've got. And then the paper that I'm using is that Packin' watercolor paper, 90 pound. I really, really do like it. And again, it starts out with a triangle. I'm just going to start somewhere. Very simple. And then we just keep going off of that one. So once you place your first one down, that's your starting point. And then we're going to aura one side and do our next triangle. And then we're going to aura this. And we just keep going around. And what the initial shape looks like, everyone remember Trivial Pursuit? That's what this one reminds me of. Trivial Pursuit. That little tiny pie thing. And we just keep going around. And the beauty of Zentangle is it's not a race. It's not something that you have to race through. See, it looks like the Trivial Pursuit. Let's see. Every once in a while, I'm going to check the comments. And then once we have that base, now we can come off of that. And create more triangles. Tangles are tangles. And it doesn't matter what we're doing, whether we're doing fragments, whether we're doing a tangle, it's creating a pattern. And that's what tripling does. It just creates this pattern. So now this is starting to look like a sun. Like that. Again, they don't have to be even. They don't have to be uniform. That's not what we're looking for at all. Not looking for that in any way, shape, or form. But now that we have these triangles, there's the reticula. And it's the space in which we can tangle into. Now I'm just going to do my normal. And we can add some C-curves from point to point. So I'm going to come down. In each of the points and add that C-curve. And then inside this space, we can even tangle in there. I'm going to squeeze an orb. This is the original. Tripling. And what you'll see as we keep filling this in, this other pattern is going to come and surface. I think I always go to this pattern because I like the little bit of drama. This is the only drama I like. That this adds. And I also think with something like this, it's perfect for your card fronts. You can cut these down and put them on the front of your card. And even as you're adding your fragment, that's going to take different shapes as well. So remember, Zentangle are just basic strokes that we do every day. And if you notice, I'm turning my tile. My hand that I'm creating the stroke with pretty much does not move. It stays in its spot. And my left hand is just ready to move the tile. Even when I'm inking something in, as you continue to tangle, you develop ways in which your hand forms a position of comfort, basically what I like to call it. And in the challenge that we're currently doing in the community, there's 2 videos that are coming out. And the first one is I walk through the fragment, how we do the fragment, what the strokes are. And then the second video, there's no voice, there's no music. And I show you how that fragment can look on a tile. Because these can stand alone. So I hope everyone had a wonderful New Year. I slept bringing the New Year in, because that's usually what I do. Sala, how are you? Oh, well, now that's a neat way to look at it. The flaps on a box, or a macaroon. But I did. I slept right through it. And I'm okay with that. I was woken up at midnight because all the fireworks. But not long. So it's a fun challenge that comes out. This is the first time actually, again, just like with Inktober, that I'm doing this challenge. And at the end, I'll show you how I'm housing them. 2 tiles, and I also show that as well, how to make that. I think I showed how I'm housing them in the 3rd tier. Alright, we are coming down to the end. And our last one. So this is our tangle of the year. You can put it in a straight line. Triply, it doesn't have to be in a circular movement. You just turn the triangles. So that is Triply right now. Now we can add to that. Because we have these openings. So why not? And come off that corner. This is Muka. Muka was the bane of my existence for the longest time. Could not get the stroke of Muka down. Like with anything, we practice. You can see it looks like it's now vining out from those openings in between Triply. Add some tipple and then round. roundings just when you add a little bit of a C curve at the base of those. This is like an enhancer. Have that. Now, you all know flux has to make an appearance. So just like with our card making, we tend to go with a style or what we gravitate to. Like I do florals, vintage, that's usually what I hone in on. When you tangle, you'll do the same thing. There's just certain tangles that you gravitate to. And flux is definitely mine. You can see Tripoli's just kind of, it's not going into the background, but it's kind of changing into something else. It's just becoming part of the design. And as always, flux is just trying to take over. And I kind of like to let it. You can always just ink in if there's any areas that are in between. So there's Flux. Biddy, you're setting up a coffee bar? Sounds yummy. And then we'll add one more. So we've got Tripoli, we've got Muka, we've got Flux, a little bit of tipple, rounding. So now we're going to squeeze in some coat root. Because they want to come to the party. And it just fills in. That base, but you don't have to fill it in. It was fine just the way that it was. The coke root for me is, it's like Flux. Kind of has a mind of its own. And then if coke root's coming to town, here's our coke leaf. We have all these little tiny openings in here. You can fill them in, you can round. Like here, I'm putting in a few tipple just to fill in that space. Usually tipple our little tiny orbs here. They just come in and around on the outside. And it kind of helps to round out and about. got a stray one coming in. So very quiet. Now, can this still go onto a card? Well, yes, it can. It would just be a 5 by 7. Or, 7 by 7, you know me. And then I think once these two areas are filled in, we will bring this to life. And to me, that's when we start shading. So now Tripoli's just getting tangled in. No pun intended. Yeah, I just heard that. And there you go. See? Okay. Hmm. I know. I'm going to say hello and good morning. Um, I'm not going to be able to pronounce that. Damn it? Yeah, I'm so sorry. Well, welcome. We started out with watercolor. Just doing some watercolor backgrounds. And we're just having a nice, fun, relaxing day. Sunday morning, tangling. I am finding, which I think is an awesome thing, that I am tangling more and more. And to me, it's a good thing. And oh, I feel a poke leaf wanting to come into here. Yeah. She just needed to join the party. So you can see it can sit that way. You can sit this way. You can sit that way. All kinds of fun ways that she can sit. Our graphite #2 pencil, not a mechanical. And again, use what you have. Um, I'm going to put, now I am heavy-handed with my graphite. I just love the look of it. I love the feel of it. Um, I'm just going to use a regular graphite pencil. Usually I go into the deep the softer one so that it can get even darker. And you can see I am not worried about how this is going down. I'm just throwing it in there, and I'm hitting each of the corners of the Tripoli. So this is in honor of Zentangle's choice for Tangle of the Year, which will be their focus all this year, which I think is pretty cool. And now I'm just throwing my graphite down. We do not care about light source, which is awesome. We do not worry about which direction the light is coming from. I don't want to have to think about that. I think that's one of the main reasons why I love this. When I craft, I don't want to think. I just want to get to it. Do I think of projects and map them out? Sure. I do that for my tutorials in the community. Now we're going to grab our Cartillon or blending stump. Q-tips work awesome as well. And we're just pushing the graphite in. getting it onto the surface. Not worried about the blend. Oh, I forgot one. So when you add the graphite, that means you're pushing something back, away. When you leave your space alone, that's the highlight. And then as you do this, you gain more graphite on your blending stump, so that can be used. Like you can see a small area, like I'm seeing a few flux that I didn't hit, and that's okay. Oh, there's my triple. See? They're sneaking in there. And I think I got everything. Maybe. And there you go. In honor of AAA. Good morning, Anthony. Oh, okay. Do you have a theme going on in your Podia community right now? Oh, Sally, you're too kind. So if you're talking about projects, now we're not done tangling. We're going to keep tangling for a little bit here. Now, we've got to sign it. So we call these our chops. And I think some people spend more time on their chop than they do on the thing. So, and I'm definitely one of them. So I make mine look like it's hooking in the tangle. And there's my little K. And then on the back of each of my tiles, I always write and yes, this is my handwriting. I apologize now. I always write the tangles because it's like a journal. I think I got them all. sign it. And then we date it. And there you go. So so for this month, it's not necessarily a theme salad that goes through all 3 tiers. And again, the first tier, that's a free tier. All right. You just have to sign up. This month we're focusing on embossing folders. I really like that. And I show different techniques with embossing folders. These are just some of the projects that we did. And I take you step by step. And then that one. That's going to fall. In the second tier, we're currently doing the fragment challenge. It comes out every January. So every day for the month of January, there's a fragment coming out that I go step by step through. And then there's another tile that I do. So the first video where I go through the fragment, that's going to have voice, where I take you step by step through the strokes. And then the second tile will have no voice, no music. You just watch to see how the fragment can create an image when it comes like that. And that's the second tier. And that's $4.99 US. And then the third tier, I gave a shot at a 12 by 12 one sheet wonder. It's a mini album, 3 by 3. Yes. It was a fun process. It's a very punchy video. Yes, I'm very funny in it. Yeah. I filmed it way too late, or I started it. So there was a lot going on. So usually, you know, the theme doesn't continue through. There's different projects. But yeah, so that's what's going on this month. Oh, my handwriting? No, I call that chicken scratch. Sala. That is, but everybody says it. It's really bad. I feel bad when people get cards from me because I don't know if they can read them. I'm gonna try, Anthony, to do some sentiments in my handwriting, but again, I just don't know if people will be able to read it. It's bad. It's bad. All right, now give me 1 second because I want to show you what I've been working on. Because again, I've been really tangling, like I said. So give me 1 second and I'll show you what I finished for my nephew. Hang on, be right back. Okay, so my nephew, a while ago, he graduated from our local high school. So I took the letters. Now this is a 10.5 by 10.5 inch tile. Zoom you out just a little bit. There we go. And I'm sorry for the glare. I'll try to. This is on a gray opus tile, and again, it's 10.5 by 10.5. These are his school's initials, and then just kept on tangling around it. Did the auraing. I love auraing. And you can do this auraing on any image that you have. So like if you've got a stamped image, you can aura around it to get that look. Um, Whether it's a bear, it's a cat, it's a coin, a Christmas tree. It doesn't matter what it is. If you just stamp that and then you just aura around, it's better than fussy cutting. Yes. You all know me. I'm not a fussy cutter. Nope, 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 nope. But I finally finished this. I started this about 6 months ago. And again, just did little bits of it at a time. What really pushed me through this to finally get it done was I don't like wind. Mm-mm. For some reason, I don't know why. When I am in my house, mm-mm, mm-mm, nope, I just don't like wind. And we had a windstorm that was coming through, and I sat at my desk and just pulled this out. And this, I was able to get lost in this and not, I didn't hear the winds. I didn't hear anything of what was going on outside. I just turned on a show that I've seen 20 million times, just had that soft in the background, and I just went to town on this. So when they say that tangling does help, they are getting it into the psychological field. It's a form of anxiety, I guess I have, and it does. It allows me to just focus in on this and block everything out. To the point where my husband knows that if I'm at my desk and my head is down and there's a pen in my hand, he is to not sneak up on me. Yeah, he did that once. It was not pretty. So yeah, got that done. And this kind of geared me up for the challenge that was coming up. And there's about, I'm going to say, close to 30 different tangles going on in here. Again, just plop them in. Just plop them all over. So hopefully he likes this. It's a belated Christmas gift. Yes. Belated. Absolutely belated. All right. So let's try some more. Do you guys like that? Is he going to like that? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's a cool way to look at it, Sala. No, NP, no problem. And then chaos. Absolutely. But it's structured chaos. Yes. Um, how long did it take me to do that tile? If I added up all the time to it, so during the windstorm, then right there, I'm gonna say was about 2.5 hours, probably. Yeah, just under 2.5, because then I started getting tired finally, and I was able to go sleep. Um, and then I would say with all of the other time, so amazingly, a lot of the time was coloring in, inking the N and the P. Yes, that's. Mm-hmm. Now you could take a die cut. So if you've got alphabet, you could just die cut them on and do that. Yeah, I should have done that, but I didn't. Um, I'm gonna say probably just under 8 hours total. So a full day to do that. Okay, Cordelia, you're having An awesome morning. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay. Oh, hey, Lois. Yeah. Okay, so I'm assuming East Coast because that's where I am. I'm just outside, about 18 miles outside of Philly, and yeah, it was just yes. But welcome, Lois. Okay, so let's do the next one. We're gonna do something different with this one. So this is kind of dark. Let me zoom you back in. And I want to try a very different tangle. I got all kinds of different things here. All right. So this tangle is called M. Manning. And it's by Teresa, I think it's Clerk, and she's a CZT. And I guess it's supposed to look like a fossil, ammonite's fossil. I don't know. It just looks interesting. Okay. So I've got my step out. I can't show you the step out, but that's okay. But I see this here, and what I want to do it in is white gel pen. Let's see what that does. And let's see if this works. Just going to grab a scratch of black cardstock so that it can all right. Here we go. It starts out like a print top. Uh-huh. Yeah. Here we go. Mm-hmm. So a print top is just a spiral. In one of my classes that I teach, for the introduction, I was told that printemps is the French word for spring. Who knew? And then you close it off. Now, working with a white gel pen or jelly roll or anything like that, you must remember it stays wet. Ask me how I know. Just say. All right. So once we have that, then we take a curve going this way. And you want to take your time, because if you go too fast, it will skip. And let me come back this way. And you can find this and the step out on tangledpatterns.com. Tangled.com. And then I'm going to go this way. And then it starts cupping in. Uh-huh. And you just get these cylindrical movements. And it just keeps spiraling. Now I'm getting into the swing of it. There we go. And then it just keeps creeping up. And it gets smaller as it comes up. Well, now that's cool and fun and different. Okay, let's do one down here. I don't know if I'm going to remember this. So again, just remember with your jelly roll, you don't want to apply pressure. Remember back during our card making days, just want to let the pen flow. Now we're going to bump in to these other areas. I'm going to put one right in here. And now we're going to start bumping out here. This is like playing Twister with the hands. Okay, that was fun. Well, hello, Caroline. How are you doing? Yes, also like a shell as well. Yes, Sala. Look at you with the definition. Lois! How are you doing? Lois was one of my students in the fall. Well, hello, Lois. Okay. Now, you can add things to this. I think what I'm going to add in here, though, oh, gotta activate. And you can use your white gel pen just as you do your um, whatever else you're using. Again, you just got to remember that it stays wet and it will smear. Just saying. Cool effect, but not what you're looking for. Just saying. Now you could put that print Tom's into a fragment as well. And again, the Inktober that we did in October, that came out of the first tier, which is the free tier. The fragments, they are coming out of the second tier. And again, that's $4.99 a month. And that's where we just tangle. That's all the second tier is. It's just tangling. There's going to be projects that are going to come out. Um, each month, whether it's a tile. I've already got one project set up. So again, you can tangle with anything. And just remember, just take your time. With the um, Jelly Roll pen, whether it's the Signo, that's the one that I've got now, or the actual Jelly Rolls. You just got to take the time with them and let them do their thing. This is Fescue. Fescue likes to roam. And if you're hearing that, that would be my cat snoring again. Okay, that's fun. That was fun. To see anything. Tangle with anything. Now I'm going to let that dry. And then we're going to come in with our white chalk. And we're going to add our highlights. And then I'm also going to come in with some colors to deepen in those poofs, shell poofs. Okay. All right. Zentangle also, let's see, what one do I want to do? Do I have a preference on gel pens? Um, I like this one. It's a bigger. This is, I think, a .7. I think. I don't know. This is the Uniball Signo UM153, and you can see the line that it gives. And again, you don't put pressure with gel pens. You can see if I put pressure on this, it's going to get thicker, but it will clog up. You want the ink to flow out of it, so no pressure is needed. You can use the original Jelly Roll, like this is a Jelly Roll 10. They come in size 8 and 5. Now when I restart my pens, yeah, I find these dry out. Um, I'm not really, see, that one's a goner. Very upsetting. Now, what I did find, and it's only with the white ones, like this one here is the Stardust. Never a problem. Still works like there's no tomorrow. It still flows. It's amazing. But the white ones always jam up. Now, Papermate came out. They have a gel pen line called Ink Joys. They came out with a white. And I just recently found this. It's not bad. And it's a thinner line. And it's a pen. That I think they literally just came out with these. So but now this is a .7, so this might be a little bit wider than a .7. This might be a 1.0. But yeah, they're really nice. So I would say either, and this isn't skipping too much, either the Papermate Ink Joy, and I forget where I got this. Or the Signo. I've had very good results with either of these. So hopefully that helps. Long breakdown of that. So, and again, I just started on this finger because this is the warmest part in your finger. Z8, Z8. Okay, whoops. Let's see. What other... White gel pens, they are very temperamental, but I keep going back with that. But that Papermate Ink Joy, oh, and again, I forget where I saw it. Let's see here. Oh, I'm so glad you found me, Lois. I go live every Sunday. I don't tangle every Sunday. But we do something fun. Okay, let's see. What do we want to do? Want to do one more? Where are we at in time? Sure. Let's do one more. Look for the paper mate. Again, I forget where I was when I found them. It was very exciting. It was only I can be exciting in a office supply store. Yeah. I'm going to switch over to my PN. So this is a plastic nib, and it's just a little bit bigger, broader stroke than the 01. So there's your 01. And here's your PN. So it's just a little wider. This is what I start out all my students on. And you never have to leave this pen. It's just a plastic nib. Rather than the very dainty 01 that I have broken a many. Yeah. Putting pressure down on those and it will just snap. When you apply pressure to it. Alright, so let's work on this one. And I'm feeling a little, it's called apostat. AIPOSAAT. Anything is possible, one stroke at a time. Yep. And it's fine. Zentangle ink. Alright. So this one is fun because you just do this straight lines. And you just keep going up and down. Just like that. Then, so you're going to do this on one side and then you reverse it on the other side. So here, we're going to come down about the middle in between these areas, and then you go back up. So now you're going from point to point. And the more dramatic you make your zigzag, the more interesting this one becomes. And now we're going to create the top part of it. So I'm just going to put a dot because then I know I'm going to take off here and I'm going to land there. And then I'm going to connect back there. Same thing, I'm going to put a dot, take off, land, come down. Do you have to put the dot? No. That just kind of helps me a little bit. Because we are taking off and we're landing. Even though our pen is not leaving the paper. We're taking off from one spot and then we're landing at another. Now I'm going to turn this. And we're going to do the same thing. Except we're going to do it on this side. Then I'm going to come down, go back up. Now, even though this background's dark, we're going to be able to lighten it up. And this is just one tangle. So do you always have to have many tangles in your design? No. No, you do not. You absolutely do not. So again, looking at this top, we're now going to come from this point here and go down into this point. And we're just coming straight down. This is actually one of the fragments in our challenge. And I have to admit, I'm like, okay, how'd they do this? But I was able to do it. And just know that at the time that I'm filming the challenge, this fragment challenge for January, it is the first time I'm attempting those fragments on some of those. I'm not pre-planning or anything else like that. So you'll see that. So now we've got that geometric, it's starting to look like crystals coming out. Now what we do is these boxes that we've created, we're going to create an aura inside. So we're going to take our pen and just aura that shape. But I did have fun doing all those videos. The Tangle challenges are fun because it can get you, and for me, it gets me out of my comfort zone. Because I always lean towards certain tangles. I just gravitate to them. By doing the challenges, they get you into other tangles that maybe you wouldn't have tried, maybe you wouldn't have given a chance on. Now we're going to do this side, same thing. And our last one. All right. When you think we're done, we're not. So the last thing that we need to do is we're going to draw another line, and I'll show you on this one. So from the top point inside the aura, we're going to go down to the bottom point. So top point, bottom point. And then we're going to create a box. So just bringing up a line and then coming over. And what I like to do is kind of aura these two side lines. And then we're going to ink that in. So now it looks 3D. It looks like it's a hole or a box that's coming up. I think it's pretty cool. So again, when I'm making this box, I'm auraing this line. So I'm coming up, and then I'm auraing that one. Do you have to? No, you don't have to do that. Remember, there are no rules in Zentangle. Absolutely no rules. There's no eraser. So there are no mistakes. Absolutely none. And that's just that way in anything that we create. There's no mistakes. There's no boo-boos. If we can fix it, great. If we can't, that's okay too. Just keep going. And when it's really frustrating you, just walk away. Just walk away, set it aside, not in the trash. And come back to it. Alright, so that's one side. Now we're going to turn it and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to do our line down first. This section right here that we're doing is actually a tangle called Cubine. The other thing that I do like about the PN is it inks in so much faster than the O1. Just saying. Lois, if you're still here, did you frame your piece yet? Cordelia, I can do that. Cordelia, I'm sure that you can do many other tangles. Just gonna make that one a little bit bigger. Okay. And there we go. It's like a crown of gems, right? A crown of gems. They actually, yeah, they did it in a rice shape. It looks kind of cool in the rice shape. Yeah, I'll show it to you. Did you, Lois? You're the one that showed me your tangles. Is that correct? I don't have my list of people in front of me. There's a couple Loises. Okay, that is that tangle. It's really cool. Again, it does. It just looks like this was. It just shoots out. Um, but what we're going to use to um, shade it are both the white chalk and the graphite. So when you shade it, you want to do the opposite of the piece. And what I mean by that is, so choose which side. I'm going to choose this side. So I'm going to put graphite here, and now you want to skip to this one. So I'm to the right. That's what I want to keep saying. So I'm to the right. So I'm looking at these. And now I'm going to turn, and now I'm going to go to the right of these. So your eyes are always moving on this one. And now I'm going to get that blended out. And I know you're probably saying, okay, why, oh why are we using the graphite? Because one, we can. And even though this panel that we're using here, it's dark, but the white is going to add that that highlight, and it's going to brighten it up. All right, so now we've done that. Now also with the graphite, we're going to choose the opposite, or excuse me, the same side. So if we went to the right here, we're going to go here. And we're just kind of sort of filling in this side. And then we're going to turn, and we're going to go here. And again, you never have to be particular or accurate when you're putting your graphite down. Just get it down. And now we're going to blend that out and pull it across in this whole area here. And we're going to turn, and we're going to do this side now. All right, so now we have our graphite in. Now this. I love this one. So while we're at the bottom here, I'm just going to look at these, not to confuse you. So here we're at the bottom of this. I'm going to go to the top of this one. And I'm going to add it on that side. Now, you can use your blending stump, Q-tip, tortilla, whatever you want to call it. For some reason, I like to use my finger. I don't know why. It's just something I do. Remember, use what you got. When it comes to the white chalk, you really don't have to do too much to it. You can just put it down and pretty much you're good to go. And I think that's why I rarely will come in with the blending stump. Now we're going to do this side. And you can add as much or as little as you want. And what you can also do with your white is literally just add the white line. There you go. Now, okay. Now I know, but I'm looking at your website. I'd love to learn how to do those backgrounds. Which backgrounds are you talking? Are you talking about this background here? Lois? No, Caroline. No, you can do. So here's one that I did with a white gel pen. Well, maybe Cordelia, he's meeting up with Max because, you know, Max is just, I'm not sure what Max is doing. Any of them. Okay, so this here is watercolor. And we actually did that, Lois, in the beginning. I made 4 panels of watercolor backgrounds because I always like to keep these on hand. So, just like that. Zoom back out just a little bit. And it's just slapping down watercolor and then just letting it dry. So that's how they're created. I'm going to keep that close by. Well, we're going to put that. All right, we're going to have to move that. All right. So again, we need to add our chomp. I'm going to go right here. Okay. Yeah, like something. Yeah, we get creative with our chops. All right, so we'll sign. So now we have that one. All right, let's real quick go back to this one. I'm going to zoom you back in. So this one we did with a white gel pen. And I'm cautiously testing this. Okay, that's dry. So, Caroline, Zentangle can be done, you can tangle in any color. The microns come in multitudes of colors: orange, red, pink, green, blue, purple. You name it, they come in those colors. Again, ballpoint pens you can use. You can use a Jelly Roll pen. These ink joys, these come in many colors as well. You can use a Sharpie as well, the ultra fine. Just know though, Sharpies tend to feather when they go down, but you can use anything you want. You don't have to do just the graphite. I love the look of the graphite though. I think it's great when you stamp an image and all you have to do is add a pencil. We all have a pencil. Number 2 pencil. We all have them, not a mechanical one. Q-tips. So this is how it originated. Now we've just taken it to the next level. So I'm going to grab, these are chalk pastels. And now I'm just going to carefully, with the same color of what the watercolor is. These are my granulating watercolors that I used. I'm going to go in and just add a little bit of this color, and I'm going to try to stay away from the white Jelly Roll as much as I can, because it will go over the white, and I don't want to hide that. But this is just going to deepen the base color underneath. And then I'm also going to come in with the purple up on top, because we can blend. Absolutely, we can blend. And we can put colors on both sides. And then I want, do I want that one? Oh, let's try it. Yes, I do. Um, so the chalk pastels that I'm using are by Soho. You don't need to use these. Generals um, makes a really nice chalk pastel. And then there's also another set that I found on Amazon. I think they're called Color. Begins with a K. Kol. Gwen, are you still there? If you are, um, you have the same set I have. I think it's Koular, something like that. And again, I'm not worried about how the color is going down. I just want to get that down. And we can add the blending to this. Now I'm going to use this one since I didn't. And I'm just enhancing the watercolor that's already there. And then I'm going to come in with the other shades and bring those down as well. So you can add to your watercolor background. Now, do you have to be on a watercolor background? Absolutely not. But you could even do what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to do that. On this. You don't have to have the watercolor background and use the colors. Then we can come in even with our white and I'm just putting a straight line down each of it. To add that highlight. No idea where that one goes. We're going to put there. So saying that's, it just enhanced the center of the tangle by using that color. Now I can add my chop. But first, I'm going to sign the back. And this was called There we go. There you go. All right. You want to do one more? Let's see. Yes, dry pastels would absolutely work with the shading. Um, you know what, Sala? I've used pan pastels. I've used um, chalk pastels. I've never put a fixative on any of my tiles. Never. I've never done that. Here's the difference, and here's why I believe I don't find it necessary. Again, that could just be me. Is so here's this is a piece of watercolor paper. All right. So if I take a chalk pastel, and I'll just grab this one here. If I take that, and I'm going to do that 2 times. If I take my finger along that, I can smudge it. However, I'm taking a blending stump and I am pushing it into the paper. I'm not smudging it. Very little smudged. Gwen, yes, what were they called? The the chalk pastels. Yes, colored charcoal pencils. That's it. Thank you, Cordelia. Kalour. They're chalk pastels, and they're good. If you're looking, Lois, for a chalk pastel set, huge amount of colors. Do you need all those colors? No. But I have found in the paper crafting world, we all suffer from I must have every color. Yep. Yes. Now, can you use colored pencils? You can. It takes more work, though. Exactly, Sala. So I've never used, and again, I've used pan pastels, chalk pastels. It, I've never used a fixative for it. Now, Lois, for watercolors, you can get you don't need every color in the sun. I know, I always say that, and everyone's like, I know, you're all laughing at me. You're laughing at me horrendously. I get it. Um, you could get a set. Now, I'm a tube person. Let me grab my phone. I mean, you can use, the Crayola sets and all that, but Lois, yeah, I know you now. Okay. So, no. So it all depends on where your price is. So the watercolors, like I just showed you, those panels, those are QOR by Golden. You can get 12 5 milliliter tubes, which will last you forever. Averages about 50, 60. I don't know what you're spending. So that's a good brand. Um, Mission Gold is another good one. Um, oh, I am so glad I got those tourmalines when I did. Oh my goodness. Okay. Trying to find a small scent. Could also go with, now you can get Magello Mission Gold watercolor sets, 24 colors. That's about 50 as well. You could also go, they also have 12 colors for 38. They're good. Um, Winsor Newton Cotman, they're good as well. Very reasonably priced. So again, it all depends. So like there's a Winsor and Newton Cotman watercolor paint set. Now they're pans, but that's okay. $25. Winsor and Newton's really good. The Cotman is like the student grade, and then just the Winsor and Newton, that's the artist grade. But I mean, you don't need the artist grade. So again, it just depending upon what you want to spend. Winsor and Newton Cotman, I think are going to be your best bet. And again, you can either go with pans or tubes. I hope that helped, because that was a lot of gabbing I just do you. Already in my Amazon cart. Okay, Lois. Those pastel pencils, they are great. Because, and I have to admit, it's been forever to see chalk pastels, pencils, for a long time. You would only see Schminky, not going to spend it. Derwent's weren't bad priced. And what was the other one? The Generals had them. Faber-Castell, but again, that was just, yes, Lois. Student grade is fine. They're great. They really are great. Um, but for the longest time, they were the only ones that you could see for chalk pastels. It was not fun to find them. But now I'm like, oh wow, we can see them all. All right, let's do one more. Okay, let me make sure there's no other questions. Oh, now Alcazar, I thought was cool. Okay, Biddy's done lurking and cleaning. Coffee and painting. All right. Making sure. Oh, I'm sorry. I know that was funny when I asked. Okay, I did. Well, Cordelia, you know what? You told me to put my sister in a room in a closet. I'm just saying. I don't know. Maybe the husband needs to go there. I've heard of the Rosa Gallery watercolors. Again, I think I'm okay. I'm not using watercolors the way everybody else uses watercolors. Um, so I think they're all fine. I mean, I do like my QORs and my tourmalines. Love my tourmalines. Okay, well, Biddy, yes, I'm blaming Biddy for this. So I'm going to try out my new colored pencils. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Santa and I went shopping. Thank you, Biddy. And I'm absolutely in love in the Faber-Castell Black Edition pencils. Yes, thank you. Mm-hmm. It's your fault. Yep. Yep. So I splurged. So I'm going to show you the way, when it comes to tangling, I do use colored pencils, but that's for a gem. When I'm coloring in a gem, or a stone. And that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to start out with my graphite to make my string, which will be my gem. There's my gem. It's a little, but I'm good. And I'm going to go back to my 01. Yeah. All right. So we're going to make like a brooch. So I'm going to retrace the string. Remember, strings do not confine us. They do not limit us. They do not tie us in. They only help us. And we're going to come back to this. I am going to aura this. All right. Here, I'm going to put a big orb. And whatever I do down here, I'm going to do up here. So you're going to see this tile being flipped around a lot. So I apologize for that. So we're going to add some mucus. And this is going to encase our jewel. And we're going to do that on both sides. Now let's see how this goes. Can you see the brooch? Good morning, Shay. How are you? Happy New Year. Looking for any questions? Yes, I've heard about those watercolors that you guys are talking about. Um, and I've heard good things about them. All right, back to this. All right, so now that's not what I wanted to do, but you know what? We're gonna go with it. And again, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, I think for the fall, actually, when I do my in-person classes, I think I always do an introduction. And I think I'm going to have a second class just on fragments. Because we touch on it very briefly in the introduction. We're going to rounds where we just add a little bit of C-curve and take away or fill in that point. And these little bits that we're filling in, that's just adding drama. Again, only drama I like. Looks like a bug. Doesn't it look like a bug? Sally, you crack me up. Does it look like a bug? But a pretty bug. All right. I'm going to let that meld. Although I do want to outline this. What are this? Okie dokie. Now, for the gem. This is where I use my colored pencils. Using your colored pencils to shade can be, it's challenging. I'm just gonna say that it's not simple, because it does take layer upon layer upon layer to do that. So that's why it's a lot easier to use your chalk pastels or your graphite. Now you can get graphite in colors. They're not inexpensive, but you can. So it's something to think about. What I'm gonna do first. And I'm going to add another tangle here. So bear with me. Because I'm feeling another tangle. I don't know why. I'm also feeling very symmetrical. Just saying. You know, there's just some days where things work. And then there's some days where, no, not so much. So this is the Tangle Foundabout. I guess I should have said that before. I'm so sorry. Foundabout is an awesome tangle. Lots we can do with it. It's very botanical. I think that's why I do enjoy it so much. I am very much into the botanicals. And then I'll show you how what it looks like if you use colors on your piece. And I am going to use the chalk pastels. And this I'm just weighting one side. And weighting is just another word for adding more ink. This is caviar. And it's just an orb within an orb, and leaving a white spot within the inner orb. That's the highlight. All right. So let's make that red. This needs to come down here. Please do not drop. I will be so upset. That. I want that. Oh, I don't think I want that. Need to test out my colors. Okay, that's it. When she starts her... Mmm. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, we're talking about bugs. All right. I'll go there. Yes. So that was found about. Sorry about that. Reading through the comments. Just Caroline, have a good day if you're still here. I'm so sorry. Mayday. Really? That needs to be a stamp? Okay, so we're still there. Oh, Madeline the Fancy Mansion, but all right. Could be a seed pod. Yes. See? See? But I do like the name. The Fancy Mansion bug. I don't know. There we go. All right, so let's do a test. Oh yeah, love that one. Ah, maybe. All right, maybe. Oh yeah, we need that one. So for gems, you want to use multiple. This is the only time that I do use my colored pencils. Oh no. To do the gem, and because this, and you'll see why we don't use our colored pencils to put theirs like that, to actually add color to our tangles. It can be very, you've got to make sure that you have a light hand. You've got to make sure that you're blending as you're going. But to do a gem, it's just basic principles of your colored pencils. Biddy, you're right. These are soft. I still don't think they're as soft as my Prismacolors, but that's only because I am a fan of my Prismacolors. I love Faber-Castell, but huge fan of my Prismacolors. Alright, so I'm going to bring this over just a little bit more. And again, you can see how far back my hand is from the pencil. I'm not applying much pressure. Now I'm going to start coming in with the next color and start filling in. So you can see that the highlights kind of shifting. And that's what you're looking to do. Small circles are always key. Breathe. Sometimes we forget to breathe. Don't hold your breath. And I'm going to keep that right there. Now I'm taking my lightest color and I'm going over everything, because now we're going to start blending all the colors together. Because now we're going to start filling in the tooth of the paper. Tooth of the paper is the roughness, the texture of it, which is grabbing the pigment from the pencil. And again, I finally finished that course as well. That's on my Podia. Also, all about colored pencils for the card maker. So again, I'm not an artist. It's just how I work with them. Can you use a blending solution? Absolutely. If you want to use a blending solution, you certainly can. Totally your choice. I just don't. I let the pencils do the work. And again, I'm just swirling and I'm swirling, and I'm just, the more and more I'm going around, I'm filling in that tooth. Now we'll come in with that dark. And we're only going to go around the edges. Still in circular motions. And every pass we take, it's blending more and more. You can see that tooth is going away. Now I'm going to come in with my Scary Dark. This is blue. This is 737 because Faber-Castell never gives you the names. I believe this is like an indigo. And here we're going to come in down on this. Never be afraid of your Scary Darks. They do magical things. You could use black. Don't be afraid of black. Black adds wonderful shadows, depth. And you can see I'm just going lightly around the edge everywhere else, but still using a light hand. And just bringing that out a little bit more. And then I reverse it again. I'm adding a little more pressure this time. But I'm still working in the circular motions. So you can see how long this is taking to just do this gem. This is like the blend that you see when it comes to our graphite. I just don't think, I mean, again, you can use them, but you're going to do a lot of work. And then I'm just using this lighter color to really blend all of these other colors together. And there you go. That's how your gem goes. Great. Okay, maybe we could see this on a bookmark. Would you guys like to see more bookmarks? Now you could also take your white pencil. Your white pencil is just the dream, and just go completely over that. But I'm just going to let that be, because once you look at something and say, yeah, walk away from it. Don't. It's tough to do. I'm telling you, it's tough to do. But just walk away. Don't fiddle with it. Because you'll do something that'll make you upset. Now again, that's what colored pencils are going to do. So now we can come in though. So again, while I always do like the ink, the black ink for my pen work, or I'll do a light gray if I'm doing something in the background. Must be the Magnado notion between the pages. Oh, thank you. Everyone's got it. Now we can come in with our chalk pastels. And again, you're just going to do the same thing. You're not coloring in your piece. You're just adding color like you would your graphite. That's not where I want to put it. Alright. We're going to go with it. Now, what you can use, also, you can use watercolor pencils. I like to use a blending brush with that, for those. that does really well with your tangles. You can use watercolors as well. We're going to have to go with it. And we can, because we can. Because you're not drawing with the color. You're just adding to the tangle. And because I added it to the other one, I gotta add it down here. So you can add two tones, blend it through. Or do like me, I'm just kind of going all over the place here. Again, I'm just throwing it down. There's no science to getting your colors down. Colored pencils, you kind of have that science. And again, this is all my opinion. I encourage you all, always, to try new things, try what you have. I think when we do that, we get surprised at what we come out with. And what comes in front of us. What's that? Um, to get a blend like that with your colored pencils, you'd be there forever and a day. I'm going to add a little bit of graphite. As you can. All right, what should we do our orbs? Purple? You could put pupils on these. You guys. Let's do purple. We'll pull out. You can also, believe it or not, I mean, you can. I need to turn this around again. I take this. Oh, let's try it. What's the worst thing that can happen? Right? Right. It's just paper. I better get another blending stuff. I will use that one. As I'm taking this to this paper, I'm taking off the extra chalk that's sitting on the blending stump. So you can see you can do it, create your gems with your chalks as well. You just gotta really work at that blend, because that's getting on my nerves right there. There we go. But just know you can also do it, you can make these gems also with your graphite. You guys knew I was going to do this, right? Y'all keep chatting. Just saying. So because your inking, your tangling that you did is in the black, you can add all kinds of colors to it. And it just makes it look different. It doesn't mean you can't do it. You can have all kinds of fun. You knew two eyeballs were coming in, right? Just saying. Just saying. And there you go. So that's kind of like with the brooches. You can do your gems in your chalks. Absolutely. There's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. Um, but doing a gem like that, yeah, it takes, I would not suggest it. Um, I just would not suggest it. All right, let's put in our drop. All right, let me move this stuff here. We'll review what we did, and then I will show you what um, anything is possible with one stroke at a time. This one, what that looks like as a fragment. There we go. Okay. I had all, thank you. Thank you so much, guys. All right, so here are the tiles. Again, we can tangle with anything. A white gel pen on a watercolor tile. We can add more depth and color with our chalks. Or we could have just used the graphite with this, and this would have been gorgeous as well. Absolutely. Because the graphite would have just pulled these right off of it. This is how we started. We wanted to pay homage to the Tangle of the Year chosen, and that's Triple E. Triple E's in there. All right, that's how we started, and then it just bloomed and it blossomed. And again, it's non-representational, so this is going to have many different looks depending upon how we hold the tile. Here is our apposite. And again, anything is possible one stroke at a time. It really is. This pulls in the graphite, this pulls in the white chalk. Very much 3D. That looks like gems, like amethyst shooting out from the stone. I mean, absolutely, we can do that. And then here we just had fun to show that, yes, I still and always like to do my inking in the black. Now, if I wanted to put a tangle in the background of this, I would do that in gray, and that would be absolutely cool. Like a bunch of print tomps in the back of this would be absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing to just pull this out because this has so much color coming off the page. The gray is just going to pull out our two little dragon eyes or whatever we wanted to call them. All right, so I had a lot of fun with that. Now, like I said, we are doing another Tangled challenge in Podia, but it's in tier 2. And again, that's $4.99 a month. Inktober will always sit in tier 1, which is the free Tangle. So this is how I'm housing my fragments, more on that. And if I find... I didn't want to put my book on top of that. Where is it? There it is. That is what a percent looks like in a fragment. So this reticula is a rice shape. And it's just one section of the whole tangle itself. And then for every fragment, I'm doing a tile. So here I just chose to have them radiate out of the center. And my chop, I think, changed like 10 times throughout this. It was absolutely hysterical. All right, so you can, and again, that's what fragments are. They are a section of a tangle. All right, it's absolutely, you can take a section of it and put it into the shape, whether it's a square, the triangle, the rice shape, an octagon, a hexagon, whatever that is, you can take one portion. Or, like they did with day 1, this is the tangle origin, or origin. That's the tangle itself. That's what it is. So by putting it in here, you've made it a fragment. Because think about this, if it looked like this, and then do another one, and then do another one, and then do another one in little tiny squares and just radiating out. So that's what a fragment does. It creates another pattern from the tangle, the fragment itself. It's really cool. All right. Oh, I'm so glad that you enjoyed that. And you know, I'm sorry. I'm gonna so pronounce your sign on so bad. Well, I know how I want to say it. Um, Damaent. That's what I'm gonna say. Damaent. Yes, because I know how I want to say it. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you were here though, and I'm glad you enjoyed this. I think. What do you guys think? Once a month, we do a tangle session on Sundays. What do you think? You like that? What needs to be a stamp? What needs to be a stamp? Which one? That's my favorite of the day because of the storyline. Really? Wow. I'm pretty good. Thank you. But I am so glad that you were here, and I'm glad you enjoyed. Okay, so that was a yes. So, all right. So then once a month, I'll always plan that we'll do a tangling session, just where I just go random, just go rogue, Probably not as detailed as this because I could have gotten more done. So which one? Um, oh, Sala, you're so sweet. And thank you so much, Sala, for putting up all the links that you're doing. I know. The one all the way to the left. This one? You think that one should be the stamp? First Sunday of the month? Okay, we can do that. Yeah, we can keep that tradition because today's the first Sunday of the month. All right, I'll put this aside. That would be a really cool stamp, wouldn't it? Oh, to recreate that one. See, they're tough to recreate. They're because once no two will ever be alike. No two will ever be alike. Okay, this make that. Okay, okay, Biddy. There is no reason for capital letters. Okay, all right, that one. I thought you were all talking about Madeline. Madeline's kind of taking a thing on her own there, but I do like that. No, we don't. No, I don't do that, Gwen. I don't Xerox. No, I actually, I would redraw that. I actually redraw this one. So, yeah. But we can do it. I'm making a point. Oh, okay. You're making a point. Now, and I did start designing or coming up with ideas when it comes to our stamp set, um, or our next launch. And it is going to have a focus, um, just a little hint, for the A2 card makers. Last release had a focus of the 5x7 and Biddy, our Biddy, absolutely. This one will take on a focus for A2 card makers. Now, this one here, it's a little bit bigger than an A2, so it would be cut because this panel measures 4.5 by 6. So it's a half an inch. And I wouldn't want to shrink that down anymore. So this would kind of be the size of what the stamp is, if that makes it. Well, absolutely. Yeah. I agree. I don't think that. But no. But I'll put that one in the pile. If that one, okay. Biddy was making a point. All right. So look forward to that. Once a month, the first Sunday of every month, we will tangle. So that is, um, we will make sure. What size is more versatile? An A2 or 5x7? Because if you're asking me, it's a 5x7. A2 for me is not versatile. I really, mm, I really struggle with. Yeah, see, I see 5x7 is more versatile. I mean, because you can take this. There's half of it. So here's a breaking line in Tripoli if someone's worried about that. And it looks like a garden. So again, I do like the larger stamps because you can have fun not cutting up the stamp itself, but stamping this and then you know, cutting it in half. This is what, you know, half of that would look like. And then you get something completely different on the other side. So, you know, that's the beauty of the tangles. So, again, hopefully you're in the first tier. You're going to see all about embossing folders. I even keep moving my die cutting machine. So I got to work out that night. And we're doing a little tiny 3-inch by 3-inch album. It's tier 3. And again, it is really, really, um, it's a really punchy video. I filmed way too late. I should not film that late because, wow, it's fun though. Definitely fun. It's a different kind of video. But for those of you that are there, thank you so much. For those of you that came here today, thank you so much. I love all of you guys, and I had a lot of fun today. So first Sundays of every month, I'm usually in here like at 8:50, 10 of 9 a.m. Eastern time. Um, I usually don't run this long, but yeah, what the heck. Um, and then we'll figure out what we'll do for the other ones, and we'll have something planned on that as well. But to all of you, thank you so much for supporting me, allowing me to be part of your creative journey. I hope this inspires you. I mean, these make beautiful cards. Absolutely beautiful cards. Or even if you just do a tile and you can put it in the card, there's the gift for somebody. You know how to reach out to me if you have any questions. Again, I've got classes up in Podia as well if you didn't want to join a community. But I do have that free level there as well where you get a mixture of kind of everything when it comes to that group. All right, guys, I love you all. Thank you so much. Truly grateful. Have a wonderful 2026. I know it's going to be a good year for everybody. All right, guys, love you to death. Thank you so much. And for those of you that were here for the first time today, welcome. I hope to see you next week. Take care.